guys, Learning with Rich here. In this video, we are going to talk about on how to define the volumes in our project. Okay, so you will learn in this short video how to place space, okay, for heating and cooling loads analysis to determine the energy demands of a building. So spaces are also used by Revit Mep to create an analytical model for building performance analysis. So if you will be going to your analyze tab, so you can see here there's a spaces and zones. So there's a space here, this one. So it places analytical spaces to account for the entire volume within the model. This includes the rooms, plenums, and chases. So spaces is very important, especially if you want to use the heating and cooling load calculation capability of Revit. So spaces are components that are exclusively used in mechanical engineering plumbing disciplines to analyze volume. So spaces contains information about their location, such as the volumes, areas, names, and numbers. So in addition, spaces track lighting level calculations, electrical loads, and airflows. Okay, so you can get this information if you place spaces in your project. So this is the next thing that you need to do after you set up your project, like after you set up the view template, creating some view sections, elevations, linking your project, your architectural project to your MEP project. Okay, so the next thing that you can do is to define the volume by placing spaces, which is what we are going to do, and also define the zone. Okay. Now, in this exercise, what we are going to do is we are going to add and name spaces in our MEP project, which is this one. Okay, so the first thing that we are going to do is we're going to add spaces to the plan view. Okay, just make sure if you are going to use a link model, like for example, this is a link model. Okay, so make sure in the type properties of that, make sure the room bounding here is checked. Okay, so make sure you check that. So it enables the geometry to define the boundary of a room. So the extents of a room are defined by the room bounding elements around the room. So you will be able to place the spaces properly if the room bounding is checked. Okay, so that when you place the space, it will detect the room boundary for the link model. Okay, so that's why make sure if you have a link, you just select that link. Okay, and then you can go to edit type. So make sure the room bounding there is checked. Okay, all right, so let's start placing a spaces in our project. So I'm gonna open the project browser, and then I'm gonna open the ground floor, the 01 ground floor space plan view, and then I'm gonna open the visibility graphic overrides. Okay, you can just simply type VG or VV, or just simply right click and then select. Oh, so it's not here. So it's not here, sorry. Just type VV. Or you can also go to the properties, look for the visibility graphic overrides, just select edit. Or just simply type VG or VV. Okay, so I'm just going to edit that. So I'm going to show you here how to control the visibility of your space. So from the model categories, you can look for letter S, just type S, and then you will be going to the spaces. So if you are going to expand that, you can see that you will be able to show the color fill of the spaces, the interior, and also the reference if you want to show. So if the interior, let's say for example, is checked, this means spaces will display in color in this view when you add them. Okay, but since it's already checked, so I'm now going to select here OK. Okay, so now the next thing that we're going to do is to place now the space. So I'm going to show you a couple of ways to place a space. So from the Analyze tab, so I'm going to go ahead and select the space here. Just select the space, And then on the options bar, you can specify here the upper limit, the offset, the tag placement, and then if you want to place a leader line, and of course we're going to place a new space, or you can just create your space schedule and then you'll be able to select from here, which is what we are not gonna do that. So we're just going to use the default new here. So our current level here is ground floor space plan. So what I want to do, for example, is I want to change the upper limit to second floor. So from ground floor to second floor, that will gonna be the height of my space, but I'm gonna change here the offset. Just make it 0. Okay, so I'm just going to make that 0. So the space that we're going to place will gonna be from ground floor up to the second floor. All right. Okay, so let us now place our space. Okay, so I'm gonna place the space here in this area. So you just need to pick. There you go. And then just select modify. So there you go. You just place now your space. So for example, this is our urgent care area. Okay, so let us modify the space tag here. So I'm going to change the number here. So I click that 2001 and then let's say I'm going to change that to 1 and then enter. There you go. So that's how you change it. And of course, you can also go to the properties and then you can select the space. That's the space. As you can see, as you hover your pointer, it highlights the space. You hover, click that space. So you can change from here as well on the properties. So you can change from here the number as well as the name of the space, which is by default, it only say space. Okay. Now, the next thing that we are going to do is I'm going to show you how to place the space quickly on the whole floor. Okay. Because for that way, the one that I have shown you, this one, you need to click it one by one. So let's say you want to place it at, you want to place on all on the rooms. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is again from the analyze. So I'm going to select place space automatically. So where is that tool? Okay. Space. Okay, and then there's an option here, place spaces automatically. So just make sure you specify here the upper limit and then the offset. So let's say again, second floor offset is 0, and then I'm gonna select here place spaces automatically. So click that one, and there you go. So 52 spaces created automatically. Okay, so as you can see, if you're gonna review the space names and numbers, so they have a generic name, which is space, so that is the name, and the number is based on the first one that we have placed. Okay, it becomes 1. That will gonna be the starting number, and then the rest it will follow. Okay, so now the next thing that we're gonna do is let us place as well on the second level. So I'm going to select the second floor space plan, and then this time I'm going to select again the space. Okay, and then after that, let's place the space again automatically. So I'm just going to use the default settings here. So space places automatically, and there you go. All right, and then I'll just select this one. Okay, now the next thing that you want to do is, by the way, you always make sure you save your file, because we do not know what happens on our machine if it is too big, if our file is too big. Sometimes it crashes, so make sure you save your file as well. Okay, now the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to name and number spaces using the space naming tool. This is actually not by default integrated in Revit before, in lower version of Revit. I think back in the days you need to purchase or you need to install an add-in space naming utility tool, okay, for you to be able to use the space naming. But this time around, Autodesk already integrated these add-ins to the newer versions of Revit. So we will be using the space naming tool. Okay? Alright, so if I'm going to select one of the space here on our model, so let's say, for example, this one. Okay? So if I'm going to select that, so that's the space. So if you're going to check the properties here, notice that on the identity data, there's the number and then the space name. And you will also notice here there's a room number and then there's the room name. So our goal here is for us to have the same room number or same number as the room number and same name as the room name of our architectural model. Okay, so this is from the architectural model. So we want to follow that. So we want our space number and space name to be like the ones on our rooms. Okay, so that's why you can change it manually. Again, you can make this 213 or 2013, and then you can type here break room. Okay, you can do that one by one, but if you're gonna do that, of course it will take a lot of time. So that's why there is this space naming tool. So that is what we're gonna do. So I'm going to select the space naming. Okay, so in our space naming dialog box, in our options area, so there's the options area. So we are going to select here names and numbers, okay, which is already selected. And in our selection area, which is this one, so I'm just going to select all levels, okay? And then I'm just going to select here, okay, and then look what will happen. Click. There you go. So automatically it's now changed. Okay, so you can see that the spaces are now linked to the room name and then the room number used in our architectural model. Okay, and then in our properties, like for example, if I'm going to select one of the space here, this one, for example, so as you can see here on the properties, it includes here the mechanical flow, and then it also includes here the electrical. Electrical, there you go. So there's the electrical lighting, so there's the electrical loads, and then there's the mechanical flow. Okay, so as you can see here, so you already have the average estimated illumination here, room cavity ratio, and then other options. Now, the reason why this average estimated illumination is blank or our lux level, it's that we don't have any lighting fixture yet that is placed in this particular room. So that's why it's empty. But what I'm just saying is the power of the spaces. So the moment you place the space, you will be able to have these properties available for you. Okay, like for example, you'll be able to know the area, the perimeter, the volume of that, and then if you place some air terminals here, so you will be able to see here the properties of that. And then when you run the heating and cooling loads calculation, again, if you select that space, you will be able to see some details here that is very valuable in your project. Okay, so basically that's how you place your spaces. Okay, so all disciplines can use spaces for displaying the space names in any 2D view. So if I'm gonna open the electrical here, so we have an electrical view here, and then the ground floor electrical plan. Okay, so we can tag this. Okay, so we can tag. So I'm gonna tag. Let's go to the annotate. So let's use the tag here. I'm gonna use tag all. Okay, so to finish up our exercise, I'm gonna select tag all, and then I'm gonna place here the space tags. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and select that one. Just check that, and then after that, you just need to select OK. Okay, so the space tag are added now in this view, but the spaces are not displaying. So they are still visible if you hover your cursor over the space like this one. You see, right? As you hover, the spaces are still available. Okay, in this view. Okay, in this view, right? Okay. Okay, so if I'm gonna open the visibility graphic overrides again, so VB, and then let's check out the space here. So there's the space, so you can expand that. So again, if you want, you can select the interior here. You can OK, and then there you go. Okay, just wonder why my tag didn't place in here. So I just place again the space tags. So okay, there you go. Okay, I should have turned it on first, the space interior. There you go. Okay, so that's how you place your spaces to start your uh, model analysis in Revit. Now, the next exercise that we will be doing is we're going to check and modify spaces in our schedule. So that is what I'm going to teach you on the next lesson. So hopefully you learned something from this video. If you want to have this exercise, just put it on the comment section below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you for watching, guys. Have a nice day.